Hello everyone and welcome to the stock market stock options update for Tuesday, September 14th, 2021. How did the stocks that we track, the big stocks that we track every day, how'd they do today? Well, as mentioned in the video yesterday, Moderna did have a good day today, recovering after about a 7% loss yesterday. They got a couple percentage points back, up about $8 a share. They were all the way up at about $4.42, I think, today at some point. Showed a lot of resiliency. It's always good to see. They're still, as noted here in our master sheet, they are still the number one stock, I say, to pick up. Profoundly life-changing technology. And as the world starts to realize what Moderna is offering, you're just going to see them continue to accrete like this, and I do think they're going to hit 750 before the end of the quarter, a few months from now. So they are definitely before the end of the year. That's really what that number is right about now as we inch into September and we have about 3 months left in the year. Tesla also had a reasonable day. Still, fighting news. There's that legislation that looks like it's going to be passed where they want to give a credit to purchasers of manufacturers that have unions. That kind of does, it really calls Tesla out for not wanting to have union activity going on within the organization. And I don't know, it's something in there. It's not really going to hurt them, but it certainly doesn't help them at a time when we should be just pushing more electric vehicle purchases and the transition from combustion engine vehicles into electric. So we really shouldn't be creating any barriers, I believe, to companies like Tesla from selling cars, and we should continue to help them. One of the things that has helped them over the last several years was through the Obama administration. Actually, there were a lot of credits issued for electric vehicles, and I'm sure that definitely helped Tesla grow through that period of time. So continuing to do that, I think, is good for the environment. It's good for all of us, good for the world. Sherwin Williams dropped today, getting cheap. That's why they're coming up here third on the list. They're below 300 a share. They dropped a few bucks today, it looks like, right? Sherwin Williams, where are you at? Right down here. Sherwin Williams drops $3 today, below 300. That's cheap for them. Don't worry about their supply chain shortages. They're going to figure that out, and they're going to sell out the rest of their inventory in the meantime. So that looks good and cheap to start off the day on Wednesday, picking up some Sherwin Williams. Google, flirted with up 0.5% today. Down, it ends up flat still. I think they're still fighting news about the worker law potential issue they're having in other countries and hiring people maybe in violation of certain laws. There's a lot of push and pull on Google right now, but they are going to continue to create. You just can't live without them. These tech companies like Google and Microsoft, they're just going to continue to slowly creep up because we need them. We all need them, and they're not going away. They're part of our lives. The tech is part of our lives now. Abbott Labs has an okay day as we're realizing more of this rapid testing phenomenon becoming part of our everyday life. I picked up some Netflix today for the first time because they dropped so much and their financials are fantastic that I just think it was a day where some of the big players were pulling some money out of some big stocks like that, and they should rebound. So I got a nice cheap option on Netflix over the $600 range. We'll see how that goes. FICO also for some reason dropping dramatically over the last few weeks. Don't know why, but they certainly came into the range here, and I picked up a FICO option as well because their financials are still really good. And I mean, what can you do without a credit score? Nothing. Can't borrow anything. So they kind of have a lock on that, and it's been working for them for years. I just think that you're catching them at a cheap time right now. That's the advantage of sorting this file, which you have access to. You can follow the link in the description. You can view this as I update it all the time live. And when you sort this by target price, you get these stocks that show up as the best deals, and that's the order we're getting. Brooks Automation was up, I think, almost 2% at one point today, end up about up 0.5%. Expect them to steadily accrete all the way up to 100 at least. Walmart's getting cheap as well. Walmart should be definitely over 145. I lowered my target price slightly on them because they're a little bit of a slower mover, but they are relatively cheap for what they do. And pandemic winter coming is good for Walmart, in my opinion. And the rest of these, other than Crocs, I did some research on Crocs today. Out of nowhere, I was like, why is this company up 8.5%? This is what happened. During the middle of the day, I was sorting, and I said, all right, who's doing the best today? And most of these companies are companies you'd never want to invest in. But then Crocs is up here, and I'm like, what? I took a look at their quarterlies and the balance sheet and their income statement, and my goodness, the increase in revenue for Crocs over the last quarter, like from 400 something to 600 something million. I mean, unbelievable. They've got great profit margins on their products. They spiked up enormously today, 8.5%. I understand why. Keep an eye on this. They're probably going to have a drawback tomorrow because you just can't have a day like that and a company like that at over $100 a share without taking some drawback tomorrow. But keep an eye on them on Thursday and Friday, because this is a company that I don't quite understand why, but I guess internationally their sales are fantastic. The pandemic economy, everyone's buying Crocs and just walking around the house. I don't know what's happening, but it's amazing. So that's something to watch. This Mesa Labs is kind of interesting too, because they're also had a great day, and they're in the medical equipment, the specialized medical equipment for testing type supply industry. So there's probably a reason for that as well. But the profits and everything not as great as something like even Crocs. Anyway, so that's our update for Tuesday. We'll be back at it Wednesday. If you do one thing tomorrow, I mean, Moderna's still at 427. If they're below 450 at the end of the week, I'll be surprised. I think that they're just going to keep this battle between people that are taking profits on them versus people that know that long term they're just doing great things. That mixture is what's causing these huge jumps and then huge drops and then huge jumps. But the overall trend, if you look at their chart, there's really, basically, I think there's almost no better company, especially over the last 6 months. Look at their trend over the last 180 days. I mean, this is incredible. You can see that up there was about 480 a few weeks ago, and then they took that huge hit because it was just such a massive increase right here that you have to take some profits at some point. I mean, I had an option that I bought right around here for $150, and 3 days later it was worth $6,000. And then I held on to it too long and lost it. But it was, I mean, that's the kind of gains you can realize in short periods of time with a company like Moderna. Where are they going to go? What's the curve? Curve something like that, right? That's what the curve is, right? Like that. So expect them to keep doing that. So they are, of course, a good buy. But Sherwin Williams, especially tomorrow, hanging out below 300, certainly seems juicy. You probably expect them to go back over 300 tomorrow. It's tough to keep them down with a great dividend and just nice profit margins, and the demand is off the charts, which is why they're having supply problems. Like I said, supply chain problems, the kind of problems you want to have. That means that everybody just wants your product and you just can't fill the orders. All right, good luck, everyone. May all of your trades be winning.